Well, folks, the governor of California is doing a bad job in his own state, so it was time to head over to China and run over some Chinese kids. So Gavin Newsom decided for some unspecified reason to travel to China, where he decided to play basketball with some Chinese kids. It didn't go amazing. It was not great. I will admit that I am a fan of politicians basically obliterating small children in sport. He's not the only one who's done this. Boris Johnson, pretty famously, obliterated some kids while playing rugby. But here is Gavin Newsom obliterating a Chinese child, and man, is this awkward. So he tries to spin the ball, fail. He tries to spin the ball again, fail. He goes behind his back. He tries to do a spin move on one of these kids, and then he loses balance, and bam, destroys this kid. And then he has to play it off like it's fun, and he's grabbing this kid and smacking this kid on the back, hugging the kid as though they're best friends. This kid is like, what the? It's like, what is happening? Why is this old white man wearing suit pants and a suit shirt on top of me, holding me? Like, this is a weird experience. This is what all Americans are like? No, folks, this is not what all Americans are like. Gavin Newsom, that's a weird way to do outreach, man. The Ben Shapiro Show is supported by Grand Canyon University, an affordable private Christian university with a vibrant campus in beautiful Phoenix, Arizona that's ranked top 20 in the country, according to niche.com. GCU is a missional, Christ-centered university that strives to foster a culture of community, giving, and impact. GCU's goal is to help you develop into a servant leader who makes a difference through finding your purpose. With 330 academic programs, over 270 online as of June 2023, GCU integrates the free market system with a welcoming Christian worldview into your bachelor's, master's, or doctoral degree. You'll have support from your own university counselor who takes a personalized approach to helping you achieve your goals. Find your purpose at Grand Canyon University, private, Christian, affordable. Visit gcu.edu today. You may have noticed we do things very differently here at the Daily Wire. We have a lot of the top news podcasts in the world. We launched a chocolate company overnight. We launched an entire children's brand. Well, it takes a lot of very specific people with very specific skill sets to make Daily Wire what it is. How do we find and hire those people? With ZipRecruiter. That's how. ZipRecruiter makes your whole hiring process faster and easier. Their powerful technology works for you to identify people whose skills and experience match your job. ZipRecruiter saves you time by letting you easily invite your top candidates to apply to your job, so they're more likely to apply sooner. ZipRecruiter is trusted by millions of people. In fact, over 3.8 million businesses trust ZipRecruiter with their hiring needs. Make a positive impact on your hiring future by using ZipRecruiter the same way that we do. We have tons of great employees here at Daily Wire. Many of them came from ZipRecruiter. 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within day one. Head on over to ZipRecruiter.com/dailywire. Try ZipRecruiter for free. Again, that's ZipRecruiter.com/DAILYWIRE. ZipRecruiter is indeed the smartest way to hire. Go check them out right now. ZipRecruiter.com/dailywire, and you can try them out for free. Well, if you're wondering where so much of the support on university campuses in the United States is coming from for Hamas, for example, you really do have to understand the intersectional movement and what exactly it is doing. Believe it or not, Ibram X. Kendi has finally emerged from his silence, after allegedly embezzling money from his entire program and doing nothing with the money to actually, do anything he said he was going to do. Ibram X. Kendi is back. He literally had nothing to say, Ibram X. Kendi, about the murder of civilians in Israel. Nothing. But he has now released a statement. A statement that is put in beautiful graphic form. Quote, according to the Gaza-based Ministry of Health, which the UN considers credible, Israeli airstrikes have killed at least 7,000 Palestinians in Gaza, including 2,913 children since October 7th. This is not self-defense. Building a border wall around Gaza and confining more than 2 million Palestinians in this open-air prison is not self-defense. By the way, you know what we usually call a place that is governed by a governing authority that receives billions of dollars in aid from America and other places and had 6 miles of beachfront property? We usually don't call that an open-air prison unless the people who are governing the territory decide to make it so, which is what Hamas has decided to do. He says laying siege to Gaza is not self-defense. Violently seizing Palestinian land is not self-defense. These are crimes against humanity, just as Hamas killing more than 1,400 people in Israel and abducting 200 others on October 7th was a crime against humanity. The perfect moral equivalence. Where is this coming from? Why does Ibram X. Kendi care about this? Because to be anti-racist is to care about humanity. It's the same coalition of the oppressed nonsense that you constantly hear from the international left. And it's not curable. It's not curable, that perspective. Because once you are part of the oppressor class, you are always a member of the oppressor class. This is made clear by a professor named Yaba Blay in the last 48 hours. So she was appearing on a show, this Yaba Blay character, who is apparently a relatively famous author. And here is what she explained about reparations.
Oh, let me say something else. Because again, I told you, I'm an independent people's worker. I'm happy that your people want to give me their money and they want to support me. I'll take it. Thank you. Thank you. Trust me, thank you. But at the same time, when we start talking about intersectionality, which is white supremacy, which is gender, which is capitalism, Americans, white people, I need you to know that your money will not assuage you from your guilt. You cannot pay your way out of this. There aren't enough reparations in the world that you can pay us. And so you think because you write a check or you slide me something in Venmo that you're absolved, and you can tell somebody, well, I gave Dr. Blay $100. I'm not racist. Dr. Blay is going to spend your $100 and still tell you that you're racist.
Right. So she'll take the money and she'll spend it, and then she'll call you a racist. I love the white lady laughing on top as this lady says. So is there a curative? The answer is there is no curative. You're a member of the oppressor class. Therefore, you and your ideology ought to be obliterated. Anybody who believes that decolonization is an anti-violent effort has not been watching very closely. By the way, Yaba Blay has taught at the following faculties: Lehigh University, Lafayette College, and Drexel University, where she was the director of the Africana Studies program. This is the perspective that you are seeing play out at our universities. It's the perspective that you're seeing play out internationally as well. You wonder why the West has decided to basically commit suicide. The answer is the West does not have the stones to stand up for its own values and say that people who are effectively cultural scavengers, people who live off the benefits of the West, while condemning the West as a horrible, terrible place that ought to be destroyed, the West doesn't have the power or the capacity morally to say to those people, you're wrong. You're wrong. Why don't you be a useful person for a change? And so the West is in serious trouble. The Washington Post has an article today called, quote, "A wasteland of rubbish and debris." It's a piece by a person named Atef Abu Saif, and it's called "I'm Still Alive. Gaza is No Longer Gaza." Atef Abu Saif is the author of 6 novels, and since 2019 has been the Minister of Culture for the Palestinian Authority in the West Bank. Okay, so at this point, I should point out that the Palestinian Authority in the West Bank pays actual, honest-to-God terror stipends. If you are a terrorist and you kill a Jew, the Palestinian Authority will pay your family $10,000. And the Washington Post, without any context, puts this person's opinion of the terrible situation in Gaza in its newspaper. Again, it's just removed from all context, because that's the point. That's the point. The idea for the media is you contextualize the murder of civilians, the absolute targeted murder of civilians in Israel. That requires the context of the entire Israeli-Arab history, usually falsified. And what does not require any context is the suffering in Gaza at all. Quote, "I walked to Al-Shifa Hospital to read the names. Lists of the dead are pinned up daily outside a makeshift morgue. I could barely approach the building. Thousands of Gazans had made the hospital their home. Its gardens, its hallways, every empty space or spare corner had a family in it. I gave up and headed toward Hatem's." Okay, now, I've searched for the word Hamas in this piece. It does not exist. The word Hamas, they're the governing party. They're the government of the Gaza Strip. There's not a single mention of them. Meanwhile, a video at the Washington Post. These are journalists in Gaza saying, please try to share our voices. Please share our voices. Now, here's the thing. Why do you think that journalists are dying in Gaza? Could it be because if you're a journalist in Gaza, you are literally dictated to by Hamas? Hamas does not allow freedom of movement in the Gaza Strip. And this is why you see CNN reporters who are not in the Gaza Strip. They're on the outskirts of the Gaza Strip because you have freedom of movement in Israel. You have hundreds of reporters in Israel on the ground right now, drinking in bars in Tel Aviv, and then going and covering the conflict wherever they want inside the state of Israel. If you report from inside the Gaza Strip, you're under the control of Hamas. But now you have journalists, and many of them are just activists posing as journalists. Some of them are freelancers who are big fans of Hitler, as we'll get to in just one second. You have a lot of these people who are now reporting the horrors that are in Gaza. I'm sure it's a horrible situation inside Gaza. That is, in fact, the point of a war, is to make a horrible situation for your enemy, not for the enemy civilians. But if the civilians are indistinguishable because the terrorists refuse to allow them to be distinguished, that is the fault of the terrorists. But again, the Washington Post strips away all context, and so we just get videos of journalists talking about the plight of journalists in the Gaza Strip, where again, there is no freedom of speech in the Gaza Strip. They cannot print freely in the Gaza Strip. If you print anti-Hamas material in the Gaza Strip, they will kill you. They will kill you. But we're supposed to believe that the great threat to journalists is, of course, Israel in general. So here's the Washington Post doing this nonsense. It says hospitals and the bombing of churches, mosques, women, children, ambulances, all have been targeted, as well as journalists in the homes of journalists. Okay, that is a lie. I'm sorry, that's a lie. The idea that Israel is targeting ambulances is a lie. There is no evidence to back this. And the Washington Post just puts that up without any doubt, without any sort of attempt to even fact check that sort of stuff. I mean, it really is an amazing demonstration of the disgusting bias of the media. Are you tired of the lies and the twist of the mainstream media talking points? Yeah, me too. Join me in my newest series, Fact, where I dismantle and bring truth to this tiring mainstream agenda.